You are welcome once again to the Guru's Perspective. You are highly welcome. I appreciate you, all of you. I appreciate all of you. And as long as you keep touching the buttons, as you are subscribing, dropping your comments, sharing generously, you are moving the ministry forward. Like Gordon was saying in those days that the ministry is moving to the permanent side. So you are welcome. Let us discuss today the predicament that all Nigerians are now facing. It has to do with the removal of subsidy, floating of the Naira, some taxes that are coming up here and there. Which are the necessary ingredients for every government that really want to perform well should base its foundation upon. I must start like that. But let us look, interrogate the trajectory and see where we did not get it right or where we are getting it right. But I am quite convinced that even at this starting point, some people may say, oh, what is wrong with the Guru? How many days now? Are you bringing Daniel down to judgment? Would you wait for 6 months or 1 year before you? No. What I want to narrate here today is that if we start off not getting it right, it may take us longer journey into the woods before finding the road. And the question would always be, if we spend too many years in the woods, by the time we find the road, shall we still be left with enough energy to walk the road now? This is where my concern comes in. On 29th of May, when President Bola Tinubu was sworn in, he made a declaration that he was applauded. In the first place, he declared it, he made a statement categorically that the budget he was inheriting from that day, that the budget did not make provisions for oil subsidy. On the authority of that revelation, he now concluded, therefore, subsidy is gone. That may not be the exact statement. The budget he inherited, the 2022-23 budget he inherited, made provision for subsidy retainers till 30th of June. The provision was there, paid for, 30th of June. So, but when he said did not make provision for subsidy, that was not exactly the truth. That's it. 2, based on the strength of the budget not making provision for the subsidy, he said, as he spoke to us that day, the subsidy was gone. No. That statement itself was a breach of the law. Because there was provision for subsidy till 30th of June. He spoke to us on the 29th of May. We had 30th of May and 31st of May. 2 days. You add the 2 days to the 30 days of June, then you will have 32 days. He terminated what was supposed to be running for 32 more days. He terminated it. That's a breach of law. He broke the law. That was distortion. That wasn't the proof. The budget as a bill, as a law, was broken totally by that statement. Then, I hope we are remarking this. Step number 1. Then 2, he immediately floated the Naira. Oh, which might even be a better way of managing monetary policy. Yes. He did not just announce it like that, but he said that his administration will not tolerate dual application of the Naira, a rate for this, a rate for this. But immediately, he suspended the governor of CBN. Of course, nobody I say in Nigeria will fight that the CBN governor was suspended. The CBN governor would have been his appointment would have been terminated immediately, if not for the stringent rules and regulation of his employment, that the president cannot just do that. It must go through the procedures of suspension, because his appointment, the CBN governor, the appointment of the Code of Conduct Bureau Tribunal, Code of Conduct Tribunal, and the appointment of the Chief Justice of Nigeria are the three most difficult appointments that once they are made, to remove them anyhow is a difficult thing. So people were happy. But now, he now appointed an acting governor of CBN. I have no quarrel against the man that's happened. After all, he had been in the system all along. But that one now immediately closed the two markets and floated the Naira. By floating the Naira at that point, what happened was that our debt multiplied. From 70-something trillion, it moved to either 80 or 81 trillion immediately. And that added to another dilemma. Then inflation went high. And from that time to now, we have not been able to sustain anything. It means, therefore, that the president wouldn't have made that statement he made by saying subsidy was gone. Because by that pronouncement, a man who breaches the law couldn't have been the person who is here to administer the law. In legal terminology, there is a name that will be given to him. But I leave that now for the legal people to point out. Then what do we have? Till now, there are problems. Everything in this country has gone nowhere. And against the background of what the president said as a candidate when he was campaigning, that let the poor breathe, let the poor, give the poor space to breathe. But today, by his actions, introducing himself into the Nigeria terrain as a president who was coming according to the expectation of the people, by what they heard from him, to allow the poor to breathe. Today, the poor are dead. There is no place for the poor to breathe again. They are dead, totally dead. As we talk now, as of yesterday, Friday, $1 is now selling for 860 Naira. I don't think that is a way for the people to breathe. Yes. Then, another thing that came into the show there happened to be the fuel subsidy itself, which was either removed or not removed. Nigerians have been scammed, but in one of my episodes, I've said it, and at other forums I've made it known on air and other writing, that we have been scammed all along about this subsidy. In 2012, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, as he was then, with his compatriots, if I may call them so, which would include people like Pastor Tunde Bakari, all the henchmen of ACN, as they were called then, CPC, as they were called then, and many others, who metamorphosed to become, who formed the APC, were the first to tell Nigeria that first subsidy was a scam. And why did they say so? They said so as to run Goodluck Jonathan down totally. And they said there was no subsidy at all. This became the standard of those political parties until they metamorphosed into APC. That became their stand. But let us look at the difference between termination of a subsidy on oil which President Bola Tinubu announced on 29th of May 2023. And when Goodluck Jonathan made a very bold attempt of removing the subsidy, as he announced on the 2nd of January 2012, I see the difference. When Goodluck Jonathan said subsidy is removed, is hereby terminated, the price of a liter at the pump head, Itoyoka, came to be less than 200 naira per liter. Yes. Yes. Less than 200 naira. Just very, very close to a little above 100 naira. Then he said immediately, he said, whatever we shall get from this, and he brought us solutions. He announced the solutions, like palliative that will come through the transport system, the vehicles that will be purchased, and that will put other labor. And he introduced what they call Sure P, under the supervision of our learned statesman, one of the greatest in the country, Christopher Kolade, a seasoned broadcaster, a man who's resigned in office. He put Sure P under him, meaning as he was withdrawing the subsidy, he brought solution. But unfortunately, when President Bola Tinubu withdrew subsidy and said it's gone, there was no solution. He did not announce one solution that this will help you, this will help you, this. It is still the solution that we are still fighting to get way to today as we talk. What does that mean? That means that somebody came with a plan when something is to be removed. Somebody came without the plan when something is to. And if you come to a scene without plans, oh, nature hates vacuum. Things will fit themselves in that may not be according to your own concept, and you will be forced by law of vicarious liability to carry those things along with you. And that's what we have to do today. Now, what are we saying? The Labour are fighting. The government is fighting. 8,000 naira came. They measure it, the president. Then later, he said they should review it. So, which means, sir, did you really sit over this thing and think of it well before you measure the 8,000 naira? That is number one. I am not to answer the question. People will answer you, sir. And they will tell you if you did or you did not do. Listen to the people. They are the one who voted you in. That's number two. Let us look at the state Imo. Oh, we are going to pay 10,000 naira. We increase. In Imo State, there are thousands and thousands of workers that have not been able to receive the 30,000 naira for the past 2 or 3 years. Named ghost workers. And they are there, live. Then when the governors, Oshu came, this one came, and no, not Oshu, Ogun, all of them are measuring this. What are they doing? Do they talk this in their capacity as representing the federal government, negotiating with the labor people, the workers, Nigerians? Let's say Nigerians. You can now see the predicament is mush. So who is responsible for this? Who shall we hold responsible for this? Because today, as we discuss this subject, the poor are no more breathing in Nigeria. The poor are dying. What will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do to allow the people to gain access to what he told the government of this? Let the poor breathe. Sir, will the poor die in your hand, or you will allow them to breathe? The Guru Sasa.